Nissan in Sunderland and Rolls-Royce are among the firms reporting production problems caused by staff being forced to stay at home. Theo Leggett reports.
I'm on the motorway. I think you'll already have a million calls about an accident.
The car's on fire. It'll be all the services.
Mate, don't go any further because this might blow up any second now. You can hear it popping. At least 2 obvious fatalities.
Yeah, of course. We'll just get rid of these lot, does it? Everyone clear away, there's still a risk of further explosion.
It's literally like a bomb's gone off.
Have you got your mobile phone with you at the moment? Could I take that from you, please?
Under arrest for causing death by dangerous driving, all right? There's been some fatalities in these cars over here.
Whiskey Victor 13 Golf Hotel X-ray.
Angry, but yeah, I do still feel heartily sorry for him. His life's ruined.
So we've got 1, 2, 3 dead patients that we know.
I never had a chance to apologise to just say sorry to anybody.
It was quite a nice sunny day, July 15th. Nothing out of the ordinary really was going on that day, just another day at work as far as I'm concerned.
Just been finishing work. It was my dog's birthday the next day, so I was going home but via Pets at Home to get him some birthday presents. It was quite warm, especially when you're pregnant. Aircon was on in the car.
The weather was really nice. I'd been sitting out in the garden before I'd come to work, so I was in a really good mood.
Just moseying up the motorway, heading to work, nothing special. Shift was due to start at 7 o'clock on the evening, 12-hour night shift, finishing at 7 o'clock the next morning.
I remember slowing down in stationary traffic, saw the traffic from a good distance.
Put my hazard lights on, slowed down, we're pretty much round here somewhere.
Because there was cars and other traffic on the inside of me, I couldn't get over to get off, so it was just I had to stay where I was.
Thought to myself, wow, he's going fast for the distance he's got to stop for this stationary traffic. And then I thought, he's not going to stop.
Well, I heard a bang, that must have been when he's hit a car. Right. I thought it was my tyre. But then all of a sudden I've gone like this.
And then he just literally went into the back of the queue in traffic.
The lorry is travelling at nearly 60 miles an hour. It crushes a car and a pickup truck, collides with Michael's HGV, and then swerves into 2 more cars, including the red one, driven by Molly.
Out of nowhere, I just felt this impact from behind.
It was like a fucking comet on fire. And I thought, fucking hell. And obviously, I saw the wagon after I'd gone like this.
I just remember all of a sudden hearing the kind of crashing sounds of metal.
It seemed to go up over the top of it of vehicles and then skewed across in front of me, hit the barrier in the middle of the motorway and exploded.
And then all of a sudden being stopped on the A1 just with a lot of fire around me.
I said, I'm going to ring, and I picked up my phone and I literally, my hands were shaking that much. I couldn't dial, I couldn't do anything. Anyway, eventually I managed to ring.
I'm on the motorway. I think you'll already have a million calls about an accident.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. I've just seen it. The lorry's got dead people. I'm sure it is. It's gone up in flames and everything.
I'll be honest, I couldn't move, which is one of the things that upsets me a little bit, because there was all these people, to my mind, going into what was carnage, and I I feel like I froze.
Police emergency.
A lorry's caught fire and hit something. 1 minute ago it happened. You've got to get there quick because people are going to be killed.
For request for police and fire.
Get back!
Hello, it's the police.
I need the police and the fire brigade quick to the A1 northbound.
Did you see anyone exit the vehicles?
No, literally it was just seconds as we've gone past. The fireball was that big, I'd be surprised if anybody could it.
The car's on fire. It'll be all the services.
My first instinct was to help the driver of the heavy goods vehicle. There were people screaming at me to get away from the truck. But my response was, I ain't gonna let him die.
Yeah. And then I kicked the windscreen into the wagon that he was in and I pulled him out.
Out he came. Just didn't say anything to me, just didn't know what was going through his head. Didn't know what was going through mine at the time.
How's your injury tonight? I'm alright, Bob. Yeah.
Obviously kind of initially just dazed what's gone on. I just kind of stood and looked round, and it was probably only a couple of seconds, but it just felt like I was stood still for ages. It felt like I was there for kind of 5-10 minutes taking it all in. With being pregnant and the amount of fire that was going on around, I just thought, no, I need to get away from this. You don't know if anything else is going to catch fire or explode or anything like that. So I started to move in the opposite direction.
In the distance, I could see a huge plume of thick black smoke. I shouted up to communications and asked if there was something going on that I needed to know about, and they said there'd been a multiple vehicle RTC at Boburn, and that I was going to be first on scene. What was noticeable first was the smell from the fire and the heat coming from the fire. So if you imagine, I've gone past, it's been on the other side of the road, gone past at some speed, and it was like opening the oven door, just that intense heat. Ellie, just to confirm, there's a paramedic here on scene, Army I believe, and there is somebody deceased inside a vehicle.
When I arrived on scene to see that there was a deceased male in the Hilux, that's when you know it's serious. Try not to associate it with it actually being a person. That might sound a bit cold, but just try and think of it as just something that you have to deal with rather than it being an actual person. His mobile phone was ringing a lot, which is a shock reminder that this is a person and they do have a family. Somebody's wanting to speak to them, and that could be my family, that could be me trying to ring any of my family.
Fucking hell, mate. It's literally like a bomb's gone off.
I can only describe what was a scene of carnage. Debris all over the place. It was clearly quite a serious crash.
It's definitely been hit. Mate, don't go any further because this might blow up any second now. You can hear it popping.
I think everyone was looking towards us to be told what to do or to help, and as one of the first officers on the scene, is quite daunting a situation to be faced with, to be totally honest.
Just for the log, we're going to have to disturb the wreckage just to ensure that there's no one else in there, and I'm being told that there is a second fatality at the scene. Stays deceased dog here as well in the carriageway in lane 2 on the northbound. Possible causation, obviously not confirmed at the minute.
See the lane of traffic, stationary, and I started to slow down. He didn't. There was no brake lights, right. And the next thing you know, he just careered into the whole.
Right, and that's the white truck that's on fire in the middle of the road. Thank you very much for hanging around there. Are you all right? Are you sure?
Yeah.
If you need to take a bit of time, take a bit of time yourself, okay? Just have a sit down in the car, mate. You all right? I think the first thing that we tried to do was to gain some sort of control over the scene itself.
We've got 2 HGVs with fertiliser on board. Get people away! Fertiliser!
Everyone clear away, there's still a risk of further explosion.
That's going to blow up any second and it's full of fertiliser.
The fire brigade managed to put out the flames and continue to cool the lorry down.
There's a car in there?
Yeah. Right, I've spoken with fire. They're burnt beyond recognition. You can barely make out the car here. It's obviously been hit by the HGV. It looks like when we've looked at it, there's definitely 2 underneath the vehicle.
Hello. Are you okay? Yeah. What kind of injuries have you got?
I think just I banged my head.
I knew I'd banged my head, but I hadn't realised that it like cut open and stuff, and I had like blood trickling down my face because it was that. But the pregnancy was my main concern.
Do you need to go to hospital? Are they checking you in?
Yeah, because I'm pregnant, so it's best to go get checked.
How far along are you?
26 weeks.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely essential you get checked.
I don't care about my head. I was like, I just care about finding out that the baby's okay still.
Shet, good news. The driver of the silver wagon on fire has been located. Fit well.
Well, everything happened too fast. Everybody pulled the brakes super fast.
Okay.
Attention now turns to the driver of the lorry that's caused all of the damage.
I didn't have time to react, you know, for such a big machine.
Yeah.
You know, and the next thing I was trying to come this side on the middle, like, you know, so not to hit another wagon and there's more cars. Is everybody over there okay? Or?
We're trying to get the best help we can to people at the moment.
Hello. How are you?
I'm glad I'm alive.
Yeah, I bet you are. What happened?
Well, everything slowed down so quick, and I couldn't slow in time, you know.
Okay.
Well, it was a bit surreal to look at the lorry and to look at him unscathed. It's like, is this the driver of the lorry? How can it be? He was very quiet, reserved, clearly in shock.
I didn't see any hazards or nothing from previous drivers ahead or nothing like that. So
right, okay.
And then just I realised I was.
Yeah. Have you got your mobile phone with you at the moment? Could I take that from you, please?
This is the moment that would change Onut's life forever.
Yeah, I'll have to. It's part of the investigation. Obviously, there will be quite a large-scale investigation into what's gone on. Like so, just coming up here, the traffic's been at a standstill, and he's obviously not reacted in time. Yeah. So he's just ploughed in the back of the daisy. I've got his mobile phone.
Mobile phones are one of the things routinely that we seize from drivers involved in such like this, and make sure that they're examined and make sure they're not used whilst driving.
What are we going to do with him? Can't really leave him on his own and say off you go, we'll get in touch with you later on, can we?
No, he's going to do it at that point.
The time's 18:59 and you're under arrest for causing death by dangerous driving, all right? There's been some fatalities in these cars over here. You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention when questioned, something which you later rely on in court, and anything you do say may be given in evidence. Do you understand everything that I've said? Okay.
At the time, I didn't know how the accident had happened. Could just been a momentary lapse in, you know, inattention. I don't know, sneezing, a wasp, something like that. I didn't know why the accident had happened, and he hadn't been forthcoming in saying, so I felt a bit sorry for him.
Has anybody put a call in that, an FLC?
We knew at that point there was at least 3 people dead, and that was our main priority. It's got to be, hasn't it? We've got to get into them families and get them death messages delivered before them it's out on social media, and we're always in a fight with social media to get to them families and deliver their messages before anyone else does.
He's the driver of this, yeah.
The relatives of 51-year-old Paul Mullen from Washington on Wearside are quickly located and informed.
2408 Tango 1.
But the couple in the other car are much harder to identify.
I've got the engine number off that, I think.
We knew that there was people within that vehicle that had perished in that fire in the worst set of circumstances.
The driver of the car and her partner are named as Elaine Sullivan and David Dalgleish, both in their 50s and from Seaham in County Durham.
One of the family pets sadly died at the scene, and we had that dog had a chip in it, and we got most of our identity of the people involved due to the chip that we had scanned off the vet. So not only are we going to somebody's house and letting them know that their loved ones have died, we're getting this information, a chip in an animal that's also laid dead in the road. It was horrendous. It was absolutely horrendous.
The focus of the investigation now turns to how the crash happened.
And in my mind, there's either been a mechanical defect and the vehicle wouldn't stop. Has he fallen asleep, the driver, or has he been distracted? And when we get to the scene and have a look at that, it's something in my 20-year police career that was just different to anything else. It was just, it would make the hairs on your arms stand on end. It's awful. To think that somebody has been able to just plough through them vehicles, setting people on fire and just ruining lives in an instant.
The next day, Onut is interviewed by the police. He's been told by his lawyer not to talk.
You said everything slowed down so quick. I couldn't slow in time, you know. Did you say that?
No comment.
I'll ask you there, are you responsible for causing the death of those 3 persons for the offence of death by dangerous driving?
No comment.
Faced with Onut's silence, the investigation focuses on his phone, and the evidence is damning.
We could see he'd been on his mobile phone pretty much all of the day. He was on it right to the point of impact. He was travelling at about 58 miles an hour on his mobile phone at the point that he ploughed in the back of the standstill traffic. A download of your phone's being carried out and shows you the usage of your phone throughout the day and the afternoon whilst driving. Can you explain that to me?
No comment.
Onut had spent most of the day browsing dating sites whilst at the wheel of his 44-ton truck. The weight of evidence is stacked against him. At Durham Crown Court, he pleads guilty to causing the 3 deaths and is sentenced to 8 years and 10 months in jail.
You must know if you are looking at your phone, especially if you're watching videos, sending messages, you must know that that is a potential consequence and you've made that choice to do it.
It's wasteful of everybody's life, the people who were killed, him, his life, ruined for the sake of swiping right or whatever it was he was doing on his mobile phone.
Onut is now in jail serving his sentence. He's decided he wants to break his silence, to explain his actions and apologise to the families.
I was destroyed. You could have just take my heart off my chest, so probably not been as painful as it was, honestly. When I seen the videos, I just, I don't know, I can't explain it. It's just something. Imagine what, so tragic and hard to see, you know, it's so disturbing, knowing I was me and that Lorry, you know, plowing through the cars.
I still remember his reaction now of press and play on that CCTV and watch him crumble.
You know, you can be in the phone for 2-3 seconds, and if you drive 60 miles an hour, you know, you can travel a few hundred yards, definitely.
And the phone that day was the distraction?
The phone, it was a distraction, yeah, it was a bad choice, really bad choice. And the wrong time and the wrong place, it's just happened, and it's just, I can't turn the time back to change anything. I haven't got the power to do that, you know. I wish I could.
If the family of Elaine, David, Paul were to listen to this and were to listen to you today, what would you say to them?
There is a million things I can tell people, you know, but I want to apologize. I want you to say I'm really sorry, because I feel really bad for what happened. I feel bad for the people who lost their loved ones, people who are injured and they have to suffer with backflashes and injuries for the rest of their lives. It's hard. It's really hard to accept that. Plus, living for the rest of your life with that in your head, it's not easy either. I don't know what else to say.
Onut's dangerous driving cost the lives of Junior Sullivan's parents, Elaine and David.
He taught me pretty much more than anyone else has ever taught me, which is what I loved about him. He sort of gave me all the life lessons that you would expect from a parent, from a father. Mum was the complete opposite. Small, feisty. She had a sort of infectious laugh. She epitomised that sort of that feisty, sort of strong character.
As part of this process, he asked to be interviewed, and during the interview, he said a few words about how he feels and how it's affected him. Are you sure you're all right in watching it?
Yeah, yeah.
There is a million things I can tell people, you know, but I want to apologize. I want you to say I'm really sorry.
All right?
Yeah. Makes you realise he is sort of just a human. Doesn't make a difference in terms of necessarily how I feel about him or whatever else, but it doesn't take away from what he's done, no. But if people look at it and think, well, actually, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be in prison. I don't want to have killed 3 people. I don't want to have that on my conscience. Look at what it's doing to this guy. Look at where he is. Then hopefully they'll take something away from that. He said it himself. He's got to live with it, and that's kind of how I see it now. Regardless of how I felt about him or anyone else, he's got to live with the fact that he's killed 3 people and affected loads of other people's lives.
If we wanted to take one thing that's affected me most about the case, it's got to be going to the families. Like, how do you sit and show someone them getting killed?
Unfortunately, it will take more accidents for people to realise that's the sad truth about it.
I've done it myself before. Your phone flashes up and you kind of have a quick look. But now I get a real anger in my stomach and I'm just like, I want to shout at them and be like, this is what can happen. This is what you could do to someone. You can ruin people's lives. You can end people's lives.
I've issued tickets to people many times before, and you get the old attitude, well, I'm only using a mobile phone, but I don't think these people realise how severe the consequences could be.
It happened to me, and here I am, you know. That's the reason I'm in prison.
For what? Ruin your life, ruin many other people's lives, to have people like me and other emergency services who are still thinking about it and, you know, driving past here and thinking about that day and the victims.
We all hear that ding on your phone and oh, what's that? I can practically guarantee whatever it was that dinged on your phone, it's not important at all, and certainly not enough to risk killing people, ruining families, ruining your own life. I don't know what else to say.
There's my cheeky girl. God, you so easily could not have been here.